My next guest makes his UFC debut against Sam Sicilia coming up here at UFC Fight Night 105 in Halifax. Gavin Tucker joins me here on the program for the very first time. Gavin, how's it going?
Good, man. How are you?
I'm doing well. I know you're a busy guy, so I really appreciate you taking the time here tonight. And I was looking up your backstory a little bit here, and I saw that you were born in Ship Cove, Newfoundland. What was it like growing up there?
It was amazing growing up there, man. You know, really small town. I'm a country boy. It's way up north in Newfoundland, right at the end, right on the water. You know, I could throw a rock off my bridge and into the ocean, and it's good people. It's the best kind of people you meet in the world. They got the biggest hearts to do anything for you. And everybody works hard, and yeah, it's a good place to be. I'll be back there soon someday. So.
Excellent. Oh, that's great to hear. I like to hear you, being proud of where you're from and your roots and all that. That's excellent. How did you end up getting involved in combat sports?
I was doing a lot of traditional martial arts and things like this since I was a young kid. I actually studied music in school, in college, and then in university I did the jazz studies, and I was back and forth training. The music kind of brought me to the city, and the city kind of brought me to new martial arts. So while I was playing, I started boxing a lot on my rehearsal breaks and stuff, and training. Did a lot of judo and stuff, and really competitive, even in music, just competitive. And eventually the gym life started taking over, and I don't know what happened. I ended up selling all my guitars so I could stay in the gym all day and train and eat and all that stuff. And now no more selling guitars. Now we're in the show. So the guitars I've left, I'm keeping.
For sure, yeah. And I saw that you went to St. Francis Xavier, right, for university?
Yeah, just for 2 years there. Yeah, I did a diploma program for jazz studies.
So you've kind of gone like the Robin Black route. Like Robin Black was, that was his thing. He was a big music guy, and then he went into martial arts. Now he's an analyst. But it seems like for you, just like you said, you got kind of hooked on martial arts, and you've gone all in. One of the coolest quotes I saw in an interview you did was you said that I don't live a normal life. Do you want to just expand on that a little bit? Because you're kind of obsessed with martial arts at this point.
Yeah, I mean, I totally flipped the coin. I gave everything away when I started doing it. I did it 100%. I ended up just I was like, okay, I'm in it. I'm gonna go to train. I'm gonna spend all day in the gym. I'm gonna be poor. I'm gonna get tired of it. I'm gonna quit a few times and come back to it. You know what I mean? I want to get into it and love it and hate it and do it all. And that's what I've been doing for the past few years. So I've been doing it full time. And even though I might have invested less years, I believe I put equal amounts of time in as a lot of these guys who are veterans. I know my next opponent has a lot more fights than me, but we're going to see if he put in the same kind of mat time and definitely the same kind of quality mat time, because this means everything to me. Right now I'm finally getting the call. I got woken up at 2:30 in the morning a few days ago by my manager, and he said, we got it. And I was like, who's the guy? And he told me who the guy was. I was like, okay. And I didn't even go back to say, I just got to work, tape study, and this is the perfect guy for me to fight on my debut, and this is a perfect way to show what I've been doing for the past 8 years, just kind of tucked away, becoming more and more introverted, and just kind of getting this done. I'm nervous and excited, man. I can't wait to get out there and get the UFC is going to be written across my glove. That's going to be a big change, so huge.
Yeah, and a big phone call that you got, and I love that story that, you woke up in the middle of the night and you got the phone call. I think that's so cool. When you got the news, who was the first person you told when you found out?
My girl was right next to me, and
cool.
She's shaking me, and she was really happy because she spends a lot of time helping me. She sees me in the gym every day. She sees the surgeries I went through and the bruises and bumps, and she's at my fights and help, you know what I mean? So it's a big thing for us too, because the UFC call is a life-changing call when you're invested so much into something that you're pretty much socially inept. You don't have a social life. You don't have you're truly like living that martial arts lifestyle. And I don't mean to paint any negative picture of it. I love it. I would wake up and train even if I wasn't fighting. That's why I get out of bed. But she was the first person I told. And then I told my coach. I kind of jokingly presented it to him as bad news, and then kind of broke the news to him. He was really happy to hear as well, because he's been working with me since day one. So that's good.
Now, one thing you touched on is, you had to give up a lot, to kind of be a martial artist to get to this level, whether it's, being in the gym when you'd rather be out partying and stuff. And I know you love it, but there is a lot of sacrifice. And one thing I got to mention is on the Canadian scene, I know how difficult it is to get fights and to stay active. And I know in your case, 2016, 2015, you only got one fight in both of those years. Was there ever a point when you thought maybe this wouldn't happen, just with the fact that, Canadian MMA, it seems like isn't as big as it was a couple years ago. And on top of that, just it seems like the scene right now, it's tough to get fights.
Yeah, I mean, I'm never really distracted by anything like that. I don't get distracted by partying and time off. Even in my time behind the scenes, I was preparing for no-gi super fights, or there was a lot of talk about pro boxing and pro kickboxing for a while, and opponents were set and lost, and there were fights set up and lost, and a lot of things that were going on behind the scenes that never made any kind of MMA news topics or whatever. But I haven't stopped. Even when I had surgery and I was in a sling, I was in the gym working on my jab. I was taping the floor. I was studying, and I was staying active. I was staying as active as possible the whole time. So those years where I didn't have fights, I never for a second thought I wasn't going to do it. Like I said, even if I had one arm, I would do it. I would be a jab fighter. I'd be in there jabbing people. Okay, I'd be paying guys to get in jab fights with me. I'm like, let's have it.
Yeah,
I need
exactly.
something. I gotta get it. So no, I never really thought like that.
Now, the other cool part about this that we haven't even talked about is that you're actually living in Halifax now. So this is like a hometown bout for you in some senses. How much of people kind of hit you up for tickets and things like that? Although I guess it was kind of made official today, so I'm sure that hasn't happened yet.
Yeah, I'm getting a lot of love from Halifax's they adopted me kind of as their own. They just kind of took the little newfie in, which is really nice. This city spoils me. It's really good. Like, honestly, for any struggle that anybody has for money, this city has kept me fed and made sure I was at the gym and gave me the stuff I need. So I don't even know how to say how much I get back from Halifax, man. And I'm right here. I'm in the north end of Halifax. I got no intentions on moving and going anywhere. I'll travel to train and stuff like that, but this is where I'm gonna stay. I'm north end, right in that hard heart. And in the mornings I can get up and I can run down Gottingen Street on my jog, and I can see the kind of what's the word? Maybe like how colorful the city is, different personalities, all kinds of characters, a lot of the bad parts of the city and good parts of the city, and I'm in love with this place, man. And this place is really motivating for me too. To be here around people, the history of boxing that's going on in Halifax, and the attitude towards fighting in Halifax. This place is a lot harder than people realize. As far as that attitude and fight history, and the people that have come from here, old Chris Clark fights, you know what I mean, and old Ralph Holler fights, and Ralph's son Roger, and people that have come up and gone to the UFC that I've been in the gym with and watched since I was a kid. And now, even though I might not technically fall into the same kind of style as those guys, all that attitude still made a huge influence on me, you know what I mean? And no matter what happens in a fight, when they show up here and the UFC comes in to my home and Sam's across from me, he's gonna know I'm coming to fight. I might be a kid, less experienced, younger, whatever you think is gonna be, but Halifax is gonna be a hard place to get out of without a headache. That's for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think one of the coolest things about this matchup is, Sicilia's been on a bit of a slide. He's had a couple fights that haven't gone his way, so he's going to be hungry out there. You're going to be hungry. You're making your debut. You got the Halifax crowd and everything else. How do you think you match up against Sam Sicilia? Because I think on paper this has potential to be fight of the night.
Yeah, I mean, I watched his fights, and he loves to throw punches, man. He loves to sling it. The thing about a guy might say he's on a slide, but he's very dangerous. He's a vet in the UFC. He's got a lot of fights in the UFC. He's used to it. And one thing about him, if you corner him, he's going to throw. If he comes to you and he hurts you, he's going to throw. So even in areas I feel like, okay, skill-wise, you can write it all down and it looks really good, there's a lot of invisible factors to fist fighting. And no matter, you can look at a guy and people will tell you, oh, you're going to beat him easy. He's sloppy, or he's this, or he's wild. Rhythm accounts for a lot. Timing accounts for a lot. And you have to get in there and stand in front of a guy and feel that. So I think I match up with him really well skill-wise. But at the end of the day, I got to get in there and feel the guy. He's probably going to have a little bit of size and stuff like that, which, makes a difference. But I don't really know how it's going to go till it goes. I will say that if my skill set doesn't get it done, you guys are going to see a firestorm because I'm going to be very willing to get in there and exchange. And like I said, if the skills can't do it, it's going to be a show. I'm not letting this city go out there and not feel like they got their money's worth, you know?
I love it. That's awesome. Now, as far as your training camp and everything, who are some of the people helping you get ready for this fight?
I'm flying in Crew Ash on Friday from Montreal. Crew Ash is amazing. He's worked a little bit of striking with him. He's always great with game plans. He's great with counters. If anybody in the one, even right now, even though he's not an active fighter, he's an incredible striker as well as a coach. Peter Martel was always my coach since day one. My teammates at Titans, I got Murderers Row, black belts there in Jiu-Jitsu. I got the Henzo Gracie team Halifax here every day and rolling, dropping heel hooks and rear nakeds all day. And we got a great Muay Thai, and obviously my boxing team, Tyson Cave, who's there. He's a world champion in boxing, and with him comes a lot of national champions. I got guys in there who are amateurs that no one's heard of that have 70, 80 fights, and these guys are incredible boxers, you know what I mean? And there's some pros around. Like I said, the city and Halifax and Nova Scotia's got a rich history of boxing. You're never going to have to go far to look for like a tough ass kid who's willing to get in there and give you rounds, you know what I mean? I've got a few guys too that look very similar in style and the way they throw it to Sicilia. So I'm hoping I can use those guys, and I'm hoping that it's going to be a similar type of feel to the rounds. If not, they're going to, at least give you those banger style rounds that he's going to bring when the fight gets ugly. And I got a feeling it's going to, at some point, even if it's just in flashes, it's going to turn into that, like, all right, we're fucking throwing now, so let's do it, and we're gonna be ready for that. Everyone wants to see that. I know that, right? I'm gonna approach the fight how I'm gonna approach the fight. I can't really say I'm gonna get in there, I'm gonna do this, and I'm gonna try to not get in this thing with them. It's like the bottom line about me is when I get excited, and I'm going out there and I'm gonna be ripped up on nerves, and I'm gonna have new lights on me. So God knows what's gonna happen. I got a feeling those moments are gonna come in.
Fantastic. As far as the weight cut goes, getting down to featherweight, I know as you get older, it's a little bit tougher to cut weight. When will sort of the big weight cut for you start as far as this fight goes? Have you already kind of cleaned up the diet right now?
And I've been eating vegan for like the past year, it's been a huge lift. I used to cut from 168 down to 145 and have a pretty rough time. And I'm a newbie. I love to eat. I like eating food. Everybody likes to eat, so no one likes to diet and cut weight and all that stuff. But right now, after the past, with practice cuts and my professional fights, I've got this down pretty well. I don't even start taking away from my calories to affect my training until the last 2 weeks because I'd like to do it all in one hard sprint. Do you know what I mean? And the last 2 weeks are going to be devoted to game plan and cutting the weight and strategizing anyways. I don't think at that point your muscle mass and your lungs and stuff are pretty much what they are. I think it takes like maybe 2 weeks or more for muscle atrophy to really set in. And so I'm not going to start even thinking about that kind of stuff till the last 2 weeks. And I'm not going to miss weight. I'm gonna make 145 easy with lots of energy. I'm going to jump up there, look him in the eye, and he's going to know this kid's going to have lots of energy tomorrow. Feel like the next day and get to it.
Excellent. Who's going to corner you for this fight?
I'll have Peter Martel. He's always my corner man. One of our Muay Thai coaches here, Coco McNeil, has been working with me hard on the pads. He's a great guy. Studies counters. And the third party's still kind of up in the air yet. We're looking at flights and we're looking at certain things. I can't really say.
Of course, can't reveal everything on here. You got to make sure that you got leave people wanting more, right? As far as what's happening in the camp and everything. I like that. What about your walkout song? Have you picked out that yet? Are you going to stick with the same thing, or are you going to go something different for your debut?
I don't know. I walk out to James Brown a lot. Last time I walked out to some Dropkick Murphys because they have that little Irish jig feel that people are here.
Little Maritimes feel too, a little bit,
Yeah, Port City stomping, like little Port City stomping tune, some drop kicks and Johnny I Hardly Knew You or some jig, but something that's definitely gonna have people ready to dance or whatever. But at the end of the day, the song's not important. No matter, I could walk out to Cher and I'm still gonna go out there and do some shit. So it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what it is. It's just a tune.
What's your prediction for this fight? How do you see this fight unfolding coming up here at UFC Fight Night 105?
I don't make any predictions for fights, man. I'm never counting that there's a million ways it can go, you know? Like literally a lot of things can happen. And there's a lot of little seconds in that round. So all I need to think about for the fight is how the first 30 seconds go. That's what I got to think of, because it's going to be a new jarring experience, and he might come try to take advantage of that. So I need to be prepared for him to try and make me fall to pressure of a moment. You know what I mean? Not just with what he's going to try to do, but to use everything that he's kind of already familiar with. You know? Which I'm not, and that can be an advantage for some people if they don't approach it, I think, mentally in the proper way. So my main prediction for the first 30 seconds is going to be either a huge feeling process or an absolute firestorm. One of those two things. And whatever happens after that is going to be, is going to be hopefully a showcase of 8 years worth of skills training.
Awesome. Well, before I let you go here, I do have one more question for here, and it's most important on this interview. What do you like doing on your downtime? I mean, we talked all about you as the fighter, and, you know, I know martial arts, you know, that's probably like 99.9% of your life right now, but that little 0.1, is there anything else you like doing outside of fighting?
Man, my girl overhears this interview. She's laughing right now because when I come home, I watch fights. I watch them on, you know, like watching Marcelo Garcia online. Or yeah, she's laughing. I'm studying. I'm watching Lumpini Stadium fights from Bangkok. Watching like pure Muay Thai or pure grappling or pure wrestling, old school like Cael Sanderson highlights and stuff in wrestling. I don't really like downtime. People always tell me to like breaks, even rest days. I don't like rest days where you don't at least get out and sweat a little bit or drill a little bit. I like planning and being a nerd and making lists and watching fights and studying where Sam's right hand's coming off the hip, all that good stuff, you know. I like watching that. I don't like sitting around and doing nothing. My downtime is pretty much trying to sleep and not think about fighting.
Nice, I like that. Is there a particular fighter you like watching fight? Like, I know you're a guy that's probably seen more fights than most people. Do you have someone in particular, or a couple fighters that you really like watching and compete?
Man, I really love Michael Chandler right now.
Oh, cool.
Bellator
Okay.
kid. Yeah, he's a really cool guy. I hope that I'm not going to get in trouble from anyone by saying the different companies guy, but he's really exciting to watch. He's really cool. In the UFC, there's so many good guys. I'm a huge TJ Dillashaw fan. I like watching his stuff. I have for years, and like stop and starting his footage and picking it apart. I think that's some of my favorite. And oddly enough, just based off your last name, Gegard Mousasi is one of my favorite fighters. Awesome kickboxing, awesome no-gi grappling, and yeah, I watch a lot of his stuff too, and I watch a lot of old school Kenny Florian fights. Right before his retirement, like in those fights leading up, even the fights he lost, there's like little clips of awesome southpaw stuff in there that he looked really cool in. And I watch a lot of fighters outside the UFC, like obviously like for Muay Thai, I watch a lot of Sanchai. He's a southpaw. Yodson Clyde, big left kicker. I watch a lot of the new boxers coming up. Vasily Lomachenko is just tearing it up. This little lightweight 126. I don't even know who they're going to find to fight this guy. Pretty amazing. I watch a lot of boxing clips. For no-gi grappling, I watch a lot of that stuff. I guess I watch more like individual stuff than I even do MMA. I think that's where you end up finding the gems that kind of eventually get placed in the MMA fights. So.
Well, we're certainly looking forward to watching you make your UFC debut coming up here. UFC Fight Night 105 in Halifax. Gavin, I can't thank you enough for joining me here on the program. Where can people find you on social media? And if you got any thank you, shout outs, sponsors, anything like that, take your time. Make sure you get paid. Make sure people are happy. The floor is yours.
I'm afraid I'm going to forget anyone if I start naming sponsors, but everyone who stuck with me through surgeries, you know what I mean? Everybody who's home in Newfoundland sending me love and supporting me. I can't wait to walk out with that Newfoundland flag, man. The roof's going to come off that fucker, I'm telling you. Everybody who's, been there to support me and get me through, my team, my coaches, everyone who's going to fly in to help me with this fight, everyone who's sending positive words, filling up my head with good stuff even when I'm full of self-doubt. My girl who's standing right next to me posing right now saying, you better not forget to thank me for all she does.
I was going to say, you can't do that, yeah.
No, she's the number one, man. The boat doesn't float here without her helping me. So it's like, number one, And my mom and dad who are at home, I think they're finally gonna come out and see a fight. So mom will probably have her eyes closed half the time, but they're gonna be there sitting at the fight. So a little extra pressure, but I like pressure, so that's gonna be good.